In the Height of Fashion, a poem by Henry Lawson. The poem, In the Height of Fashion, by Henry Lawson, is a satirical commentary on the fickleness and superficiality of the literary world. The poet is now part of the fashionable crowd, celebrated by society and the educated elite. Still, at the same time, he is aware of the shallowness and transience of this newfound fame. Each stanza sheds light on different aspects of this societal transformation. Stanza 1 opens the poem with the idea that popularity and success have a price, as the passing fool who sings now has to pay a toll. The harp, a symbol of poetry, is described as dull and heavy, with dried blood on the strings, indicating that the poets have had to struggle for their art. The speaker invites the listener to celebrate their newfound success, symbolized by the wreath on our brow. The reference to Victor Daly, a contemporary Australian poet, suggests that the speaker is part of a literary scene gaining recognition and status. Stanza 2 describes the past struggles of the literary community when even the most excellent earl, an aristocrat, could insult them, and the meanest scribe or writer could sneer. The speaker emphasizes the vulnerability of writers to the power of the media and wealthy publishers, which left them open to ridicule and criticism. The poets were slaves to the journal-owning Neros, a reference to the Roman Emperor Nero, known for his cruelty and excesses, and could be destroyed by negative reviews and criticism. However, now that they are fashionable, they are celebrated as heroes and sweet singers, regardless of their past struggles and failures. Stanza 3 continues the theme of social climbing, as the speaker notes how the writers used to be ignored and impoverished, with only the bailiff for company. Now, they are invited to dine with the upper classes and are welcomed by ladies, who previously would have shunned them. The pale muse, which means inspiration for writing, is dismissed as unnecessary and irrelevant, and the poet aims to please and flatter their audience, regardless of the artistic merit of their work. Stanza 4 touches on the absurdity of the poet's newfound fame and the idea of fashion, with the writer's clothes being repaired and patched in the past. They no longer have to settle for a palace of the mind, or their imagination, but can now measure their worth by the quality of their clothes and the approval of the lordly tailors. They are measured by goose knights, tailors, who bow to them. The worn-out pants, previously seen as a sign of poverty and failure, are now treasured to symbolize their artistic success. Stanza 5 refers to the writer's struggles for recognition when their appeals to the country for support were met with indifference and even hostility. They are celebrated with champagne spreads and are part of the fashionable set. The contrast between beer and champagne highlights the social and economic differences between their past and present status. The phrase, silly row, implies that their previous concerns were trivial and unimportant. The mention of the tray bit indicates that artists were once given meager scraps, but are now given everything they desire. Stanza 6 continues the fashion theme, with the writer's work being considered drivel and rot in the past, but now their silliest clack, chatter, is admired. The shallow nature of their new popularity is emphasized, as their bluff, false bravado, frightens their audience. The reference to doggerel emphasizes that the speaker is mocking their audience's superficiality and lack of discernment. Stanza 7 touches on cultural taste and snobbery, as the maiden dismisses some of the writer's work as too lowbrow. The writer highlights the absurdity and shallowness of the literary tastes of the upper class. They enjoy the swagman and drover, two characters from Australian folk culture, but dismiss the more common and relatable billy, a tin can used for boiling water. The speaker suggests that the writers are now part of the fashionable elite, with their work admired by those who previously would have looked down on them. Stanza 8 contrasts the speaker's current positive attitude towards his work with a past rivalry with Banjo Patterson, another famous Australian poet. The speaker suggests that their past disagreement was based on jealousy and bitterness, and now he can appreciate Patterson's work. The word darling towards Banjo shows the speaker's attempt to maintain a friendly relationship with their rival, a common practice in the literary world. Stanza 9 describes the speaker's youthful vitality and excitement as he embraces his newfound success. The reference to letting his hair grow longer suggests a rebellious spirit and a rejection of the strict social norms that previously kept him on the margins of society. The line, "storm-tossed from my stormy brow," is a metaphor for the speaker's troubled past, and the longer hair represents their attempt to overcome it and move forward. Stanza 10 ends the poem with a note of irony, as the writer's new success is defined by their willingness to cater to the whims of the wealthy and fashionable elite. They are willing to write odes to society's darlings and celebrate the rich's excesses, all in the pursuit of social status. They want to praise the blatant cad who boodles, which means they want to write about wealthy individuals who waste their money. The word "brilliant circles" refers to the upper-class society, which the speaker and their peers want to be a part of. The reference to the doo-dah poets suggest that the speaker is aware of the absurdity of their situation and willing to mock themselves and their critics. The line, "We are fashionable now," is repeated in all three stanzas, emphasizing the speaker's desire to fit in and be accepted by literary society.